All right, anytime we lose, we're disappointed, and the goal is to win each week. Our players played well. They played hard versus a very tough Wyoming team, and I don't question our effort as far as that goes. The coaching staff, starting with me, has to keep improving to give our players the best chance to win the football game. Our players need to execute. So coaches got to coach better, players got to execute. But our goal is to win the Sun Belt Championship, and that starts this week in Monroe, Louisiana. Injury-wise, I think we'll be fine from the game on Saturday. Shawn Clark went out with a laceration on his forehead and had to have stitches, and then Montez Kelly was out, and we think he's going to be back for Saturday.
Shawn, and kind of adding on to the injury discussion, can you give us an update on Ryan Berger's process?
Yeah, Ryan Berger's right where we thought we'd be at this time. His wound is healed from his finger surgery, and this week we'll start a return to play protocol, and he'll be on a throwing or a pitch count this week, and really see how his wound continues to improve.
Is it just one of those situations now where the doctor says, okay, we can check him out, but by and large it's really going to be a matter of how he's responding, how he feels after he throws the ball? I mean, it feels like it probably becomes kind of an individual call at this point.
Yeah, I think with, talking with Dr. Parker and Taylor Young, our athletic trainer, again, I'm not a doctor, but it's been a calcification of his finger and his wound to heal. So he was throwing a tennis ball around a little bit this past week, and the football is supposed to start out on Tuesday, and we'll have a better answer for you on our Wednesday interview there, David.
Going back to the Wyoming game, after you had a chance to come back, watch the film, kind of check some of your notes, where are the areas that you say, okay, here are some of the milestones of improvements we've got to specifically address?
No, I think there's a lot that you have to improve on, but there's a lot of positives in that football game. You look at the categories, we outrushed them, outthrew them. One leading at halftime. There's a lot of good things we did, and we just the turnovers is what hurt you, and that's big. We had two costly turnovers there with the one throw that put our defense in a bad situation. We have to hold them to a field goal in that sort, and then on offense we can't throw an interception. Again, that was just Joey trying to make a play. It was we couldn't take a sack. We had no timeouts, and so we couldn't take a sack, and he was throwing up trying to make a play, and that happened. So that's been addressed. Again, he was just trying to make a play. I don't fault him for that, but it was cover zero, and they had one more guy and we could block. But you look back at it, we got to do a better job with timeouts. I mean, that was one was on defense. We had two on offense, and that was coaching. We got to get that done, squared away. And I'm never going to put anybody in a bad situation like that. So those have been addressed, and we move forward to Monroe.
As you think about the offense through 4 games, I mean, you've really moved the ball very consistently, and against some tough defenses on top of that. What is kind of that next horizon for the offense? The running game's working really well. Nate's, I think we're 100-yard games every game so far this season. Joey has certainly thrown the ball well in terms of moving the offense. What's the next gear there? What do you see and say, yes, it's been good, but here's what I see coming next?
Yeah, our offense has done a lot of good things this year, and we've been very good from the goal line all the way to the plus 15. And once you get into the red zone, the field shortens, and we have to be more creative in some ways. That starts with me of getting our playmakers the ball, but again, it's we have to execute. We have to call better plays, and that I'm not calling anybody out. That starts with me. And we have to put those guys in the right situation to be successful. But again, 4 tough defenses, and again, I think we recognized this past week that field goals aren't going to win football games.
Speaking of the red zone, though, I mean, did Wyoming do anything unique? Because, I mean, coming into that game, and this includes a kneel out to finish the ECU game, you guys were right around 65% touchdown rate there, which is kind of right in your historical sweet spot. Over the course of the FBS era. Did Wyoming do anything different that you guys can learn from? Well,
I think you go back and look at the tape, and some plays were there. We could have called some different reads off those plays, and we didn't. We had to execute. But again, that starts with coaching. We have to make sure we put our players in the best position to be successful. And at times we did, and at times we didn't. And that starts with me at the top and works our way down.
Kind of the same question defensively. Some pretty solid performances. You held Wyoming to just over 200 yards total offense. The defense gave up 14 points there. Do you feel like, hey, they're playing solidly, but again, there's more horizon for those guys?
Yeah, you look at our defense. Our defense played well. they gave up 177 yards rushing, and 75 were on one play. And they had 31 yards passing. So I think our defense are playing at a high level right now. We need to keep improving. It just goes to show you that we're one play within the game that can make a difference. And we don't fit a gap the exact way, and then it's a long run. So, again, our defense is playing well. I think our corners, both our corners, Funderburk and Ethan Johnson, played extremely well on Saturday. Our goal was to make them one-dimensional. I think we did that by the numbers. They rushed the ball for 177 yards and threw it for 31. So, again, our defense had a great game plan. We just had to keep executing at a high level.
Obviously, you had the field goal at the end that's blocked, but before that, Michael Hughes hits 4 in a row, including the 50-yarder just before halftime. Yeah, you want to finish with touchdowns, but when that's not possible for one reason or another, you've got to rely on Michael. And that 50-yarder felt like maybe it was maybe a possible breakthrough moment for him. What do you think he can do with maybe a little more confidence from that distance? Yeah,
I'm very proud of Michael. You go back and look at his he's had some great hits and a couple of misses, but I have a lot of confidence in him to do his job. And I think that was big for us to score it before halftime. That was still in points. We stole 3 points there right before half. Our players executed the game plan well as far as scoring points before half. So we expect a lot of big things out of Michael. That's understood. And again, it comes down to it again. We're going to do the same thing.
As you look at this non-conference slate that you just wrapped up, what goals did you accomplish? What did you see that you liked? And what do you feel like is still out there on the table that this team needs to prove?
Yeah, it's a tough non-conference schedule. We knew that going into it. And again, we're lost two games by 9 points. One in double overtime to now the 12th ranked team in the country, and one to a very good Wyoming team. But we had to go into it, establish depth from the defense. And I thought we've done that. You look at, we're playing 8, 9 guys on the defensive line. We're playing 4 and 5 inside backers. We have a true freshman, Nate Johnson, playing at a high level right now, and TD and Spellman. And then we have now we have depth in the secondary. And on offense, we had to find out who our playmakers were. And I think we've done that. I think we have a very underrated receiving core. I think our offensive line's improved, and Joey's improving week by week. He's really only played 3.5 games of Division I football, and again, he's going to get better as this day goes on. So I think we found some good running backs, and Nate Newell staying healthy, knock on wood, that he's on track to have a great season rushing the football, and Kanye Roberts and Haywood and Amani Marshall. So I think we're 2-2. We are who we are right now. We're a 500 football team, but we're going to start conference play this week, and that's where the season begins.
What, if anything, changes with conference play, other than obviously the importance of the games?
It's a heightened sense of awareness. This conference from top to bottom is the best it's ever been, and there are no games you can go into it and say this is going to be an easy win. And it's no different this week in Monroe. Got a lot of respect for Coach Bowden and his staff, the way they do things. He's really drastically improved that program through the transfer portal. And you look at his record, he beats Army, Army goes down and beats Texas San Antonio the next week, and they played Lamar, and they played A&M very good for 3 quarters. And at the end, A&M just wore them out. But they're coming off a bye week right now, so they got another week. They had an extra week to work on App State, and we're going to have our hands full. That's a tough environment to play in Monroe, but one we look forward to the challenge.
Offensively, it seems like they kind of lean on the run game pretty heavily. What do they do well in that side of the ball and in that run game?
Well, we have some big-time playmakers on offense. We have a solid offensive line. They run the split zone and a counter play, which you have to be able to fit right. And they have 2 receivers can play anywhere in our conference. So, again, they do a great job of getting their playmakers to football. And we have to make sure we do our job as a collective team to put our players in the best chance to win this week.
Over the last 2 years, App has been involved in some really incredible finishes, some where you ended up the winner, some where you didn't. I'm just curious, as the head coach, what's it like riding that roller coaster and being a part of those types of finishes?
Well, you have to, be even kill because we've had the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, and anytime you lose, close games, those eat on you. But again, you have to have a 24-hour rule in your mind, and just like our players, you can't tell your players to do one thing and you do the same. So it was a tough Sunday yesterday, but we came back, we met with our players, we had a brief walkthrough yesterday evening and put it behind us because we can't let one loss become 2. And again, our players understand how important it is right now to play at a high level going to conference play. So again, I like our football team. I do. And we have a good football team. And it may not look it from the outside in, but I have a lot of confidence in our football program, our football players, and our coaching staff, and we look forward to getting the field on Saturday.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.